need Dragon Sword power!
Hey guys, what's going on? Carmen back with another episode of End Bosses, a long-awaited episode of End Bosses, the latest installation of End Bosses. It's been a while since I've done an End Boss video, so since I did a quick play yesterday of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the Fighting Edition, I was like, you know what, fuck it. Let's make an End Bosses video also focusing on that particular title. But today we're getting a bargain because we're not getting just one end boss. We are getting three. 1, 2, 3. Uno, dos, tres. Of course, that being that we're not focusing on just the final boss of this particular game. We're going to focus on the last 3 characters that you fight in this game. Reason being is that in Power Rangers, there have been characters that have shown up to prove themselves to be formidable nemesis, if you will. Nemesis. One of them being Goldar. Now, when Goldar first came onto the scene, he came on to wreck shit, and he did. He did so pretty effectively. It wasn't often that he was retreating back in those early days. As a matter of fact, more than a few times, he caused the Power Rangers to retreat. He caused all kinds of havoc, sitting there throwing out like lasers out of his eyes, stomping through Angel Grove, decimating the abandoned warehouse district. If I were a monster, I'd be like attacking more, more inhabited areas of that city. But I guess they just had a fetish for destroying abandoned, warehouse districts. But either way. And at that point, Goldar had a partner in crime who showed up more often than not with him, which was Scorpina. Scorpina was freaking hot. Even though I went on and on about Kimberly kind of being that early childhood crush, Scorpina, and as you say, I just destroyed Goldar. See you, Goldie. Sorry, I love you, bro. But Scorpina dressed pretty provocatively, and she was hot. And I don't know, she was still kind of hot, even when she like went full-on monster mode and her face was all fugly. But yeah, she used to show up quite often with Goldar, destroy the city. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've read any of this, so my Power Rangers lore is a little rusty, even though I love the show. I think I read somewhere that Scorpina and Goldar were actually married or a couple or mated or some shit. I don't know. Would make sense, though. They kind of complement one another rather well. But, you know, Goldar is gone now. Unfortunately, he got reduced to comic relief in the later episodes, in the later seasons. I think that kind of started, like... Well, I got at its worst when Rito Repulsa showed up, Rita's brother, who also came in like a house, like a house on fire. He just fucking came in and wrecked shit. In his first appearance, he actually destroyed that season's Megazord. Did so quite effectively. But from there on in, he just became a complete idiot. He couldn't do anything right, and unfortunately, Goldar got dragged down into that same, just like, pit of being completely incompetent. So yeah, Goldar went from being a complete, legitimate badass to just becoming comic relief, along with Rito. And I recall there being episodes where Rito and Goldar, I think, lose their memories, get found by Bulk and Skull. Bulk and Skull end up, like, manipulating them into believing that they're, like, they're fucking maids or something. So throughout that season, you see Rito and Goldar walking around Bulk and Skull's pad wearing, like, these ridiculous, like, housekeeping aprons. And I was like, oh, Goldar, how far you have fallen, my friend. Fallen. Wow. Do I speak much? Probably not. How far you have fallen. So, but anyway, but here we are now fighting Lord Zed. Now, when Lord Zed first showed up in the series, my God, he was kind of terrifying. I remember as a kid being like, holy shit, who the fuck's this guy? And I remember Rita and everybody else, they were kind of like running around, scurrying around the moon base. They're like, oh my God, Lord Zed's showing up. Shit. Everyone was freaking out. Everyone except Goldar. Goldar was like, yes, finally! Somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing! It's so great to see you, my lord and master! Let me kiss your toes! Of course, Goldar was kind of an ass kisser at that point, but I think Goldar was tired of failure. He felt that Rita didn't know what the fuck she was doing, and he's like, yes, Lord Zed is back, the lord and master of all things evil and all things dark, and, it's just like, yeah, I think Goldar was just excited to see Lord Zed. Lord Zed first showed up on the scene. He caused so much havoc. He wrecked so much shit. And then eventually he just becomes just as incompetent and inept as everybody else on the show. He first shows up and he's like, Rita, you suck, I'm taking over. I think Rita at some point puts like a love spell on him or some shit, and I don't know, he just becomes her personal little lapdog. Lord Zed eventually becomes comic relief as well. And here we are with the actual final boss. This is Ivan Ooze. And for those of you who may not be aware, Ivan Ooze, I believe, only made one appearance. That was in the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie, which I think came out like in the mid to late 90s. I can't remember the exact year. I do remember I saw it like 3 or 4 times as a kid in the theater. I loved it. You know, you go back and watch today as an adult, you're like, oh god, this is kind of ridiculous, very campy. But it's good, harmless fun. Nothing special, but, you know, it's still a nice little trip down memory lane to anyone who grew up with these Power Rangers. I remember the one thing that bothered me, though, was, like, in the movie, their costumes looked awesome. They had kind of, like, this armored appearance, right? Almost like they had armor padding, like they added on top of the spandex to actually make them look more legit. And I'm like, wow. These are cool. These actually look like they can absorb some damage and actually function well in battle. And I remember thinking, came out there, and I was like, holy shit, so this is cool. I wonder if they're going to go with these costumes when the new season comes out. The new season drops, and they go back to the same tired-ass, like, spandex they've been wearing. I'm like, well, shit, that sucks. It was kind of a letdown. I felt kind of deflated. Been a while since I read up on any of this, but as I recall, I think they said in those earlier seasons that any action sequence involving the Power Rangers in costume, fighting monsters, fighting putties, or what have you, had already been pre-recorded, because they were taking it from, like, I think Japan, and then they were just adding the actors' voices over that, you know, and dubbing over that. And then anything with the live action, like anything with the actors actually out of costume, they reshot. But I don't know. The original story for the Super Sentai was actually pretty dark. Rita wanted to kill all children on the planet because children are the future, and she felt that was the most efficient way and the most effective way to destroy Earth. Kind of dark when you think about it. Rita wants to kill children, but I'm not really surprised. But there you have it. I destroyed Ivan Ooze. The universe is safe. And it's game over, man. Game over. As always, thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks a lot, guys.